What's up, y'all? It's Deidre with One Shot Gang. It's been a minute since I made a video, but it's Sunday, it's Father's Day. Shout out to all the fathers out there, and I'm feeling good. So I'm in the park, and this video that I want to make today concerns the topic of the God inside you, spirituality inside each person. You have to pay attention and watch out to the people that have ugly souls with ugly intentions, meaning they can convince you that they are God. And as hard as it may be to believe, I see it happening all over the world. I actually was reading a book called Revival Season before I came outside, and it was basically talking about how a father had the ability to heal. The gift that he had was provided for him through God, but in the end, it came to, he was violent towards his family. He put his hands on the wife, he put his hands on his kids. He made it seem like men were the only one in position of power, the only one that could possess such gifts, the only one that could control such outcomes. Power into one man's hands, to where the mom and the kids basically didn't stand up for themselves. They led themselves to believe that this man who portrayed himself as God was everything, when low-key the mom had a life she had before she met the husband, that she so desperately craved. When it came true that he didn't have the ability to heal, he started becoming really aggressive and really violent towards his family. And I say all that to say, a lot of times we get into relationships and we fall victim to what people believe we should be. Under so much control, after so long, you start to believe that that's who you are. When in reality, that's not true. I've been in relationships, 2 serious relationships, where I was put in a position to feel like me and my existence relied on them and their existence. Without them, there was no me. The first relationship I was in lasted for a long time. I eventually detached from that relationship, which wasn't easy. It broke me down. Let's just say, no eating, depressed, didn't have no sense of life. I just felt like that person was the only sense of life that I had. That person was the only person that made me feel like I was who I was. And that gave that person all control. I remember they used to say things to me like, I made you. I made you. And at that time, I believed it, because I didn't know who I was, and I had somebody who was showing me how to live life, was showing me how to have some self-esteem about myself. But in reality, it is God who walks with you every day. You do not need man to show you who you are. You do not need man to tell you who you are, because then that gives them the power and the control to dictate how you see yourself and how you live your life. So a little bit after my first relationship, I went to prison. And then, was I still yearning for that somebody to make me feel like I was somebody, especially in that situation? Yes, I was. Over time, everybody is resistant to change. But in prison, once you get there, there is no getting out until they say you can get out. So you have to adjust to that change. And that's when I really found out who I was. I had to move by myself in there. Everything is up to you. Your choices, the things you get involved in. Man, it was so many things around me that I could have got involved in that could have prolonged my time from coming home. Mindset that I have on my own, by myself, helped me to not get caught up in the prison life, because in case y'all don't know, there's so much negative energy inside prison. So many evil souls who don't care about who they hurt or damage in the process, because they're so hurt and damaged, which makes you think they care about you. They don't. So the best piece of advice that I gave myself while in there was focus on you. Focus on what you want to do. I've always been a hard worker, so I worked in the kitchen. It kept me busy. I read a lot of books. I was in the library by myself every day, reading books, staying on my bunk. I didn't go outside on the yard really because it was too much activity outside. Too many drugs going on, too many people who just didn't care about life, didn't care about where they were going. I remember I got transferred a lot when I was in prison. So I went from Chowchilla to CIW, and when I got to CIW, there was this woman there who was about 8 months pregnant, strung out on drugs in prison. But since I worked in the cafeteria in the morning and I served halal meals as well, which is different religion meals, I was expecting her to come get her food for her and her child. She never came. So eventually I did go outside, because you can mentally put yourself in a cave by staying in your room, in your cell all the time. So to get some fresh air every now and then was great. So eventually I did go outside, and when I went outside, I seen this lady, not gonna mention her name, very under the influence and very pregnant. That put a whole new perspective on my life. Like, to be able to be so hurt and so damaged by everything you have been through in your life, that you passing that trauma and that hurt and that pain to that unborn child. And I don't even think people realize, like, everything that's going on out here goes on in prison. The guards don't care. They don't give a fuck. They like, listen, if you want to mess up your whole life and stay in here, we don't give a damn, because we still gonna get paid regardless. And that type of mentality sometimes keep people trapped inside of prison. They don't know how to live out here in real life. But my mission was to get back home to my daughter. I needed that cleansing of the mental, because sometimes your family can be your own worst enemies. Growing up in a very spiritual, narcissistic household, and let's just say a spiritual narcissist is very different from a narcissist. A spiritual narcissist is someone who uses God to project their negativity onto you. And when I say I dealt with that my whole life, prison was like a sense of relief. It was like, now I got a chance to dictate my whole life on my own without the pressure of me needing to do this, me needing to do that. Because I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes people see your light on you before you do. And so if they're an ugly soul and they're a person who's not happy with themselves, they're going to do everything in their power to bring you down. And being the fact that I grew up with a very spiritual narcissist, the power of God and influencing it on other people to justify them and who they were and why it was okay for them to do the things that they were doing, it almost makes you feel like, is God really real? But he is. He's inside every one of you. The moment you figure out who you are, and don't let nobody stop you. Don't let nobody get you down. Don't let nobody dictate your life. Don't let nobody tell you who you are. You do not figure out who you are. At some point in your life, you will have everybody trying to pull you each different way, telling you you should be like this, you should do this, This is who you are. This is you. And in reality, you're not happy because it's not you, because it's people pulling you in different directions. Be authentically you. It is the best piece of advice I could give anybody. The God lives inside of you. He walks with you every day. Every situation, every outcome is all up to you. Do not, I repeat, do not let another person dictate your life. Only you and God are in control. That's Deidre with One Shot Gang. I love y'all, man. Have a good, happy Father's Day.